Well, over the past several months, there's been a lot of attention on the issue of child abuse in the Catholic Church. The New York State Attorney General issued civil subpoenas to all 8 Catholic dioceses a few months ago as part of an investigation.
And while that unfolds, state lawmakers are looking to put forward legislation to help victims, both past and present. Our very own Brandon Menard sat down with our local representatives to learn more about their efforts in this special report.
Nick, Renata, across the country, many people are breaking their silence and coming forward after being sexually abused in the Catholic Church. In New York, it's no different. Lawmakers across the state are looking to come to an agreement on legislation giving abuse victims justice.
Something needs to be done. No action is unacceptable. These individuals who prey on our young boys and girls need to be held accountable, period. And whether it's criminally or civilly, something needs to be done.
The piece of legislation leading the charge is Assembly Bill 5885, a version of the Child Victims Act. It passed in the Assembly in 2017 and 2018, but has not been considered by the state Senate. Part of what the legislation calls for is having statute of limitations in criminal cases involving a child less than 18 years old to start until they reach the age of 23.
I would certainly like to see is have get rid of the statute of limitations on the criminal side. So if there's evidence that's produced and they can show that someone used their position, they should go to jail for that. They should be affected criminally, because I think that's something that should be a part of it.
Paul Massano says other pieces of legislation in the works call for things like creating a victims fund and making officials within the church, like priests, mandated reporters. But the conversation hasn't been without some controversy, as some legislation calls for a 1-year open window to file a civil claim.
The biggest contention is that 1-year open window where anyone could file a claim, and that's where the contentious comes. But we need to do something, and not doing anything is not an answer.
I reached out to the Diocese of Rochester, who issued a statement from the New York State Catholic Conference saying, in part, "We would welcome discussions to resolve this issue in a way that is acceptable to all survivors, but also to religious and nonprofit organizations who would be impacted. We believe there is potential for some kind of resolution, and there are things we can look at with regard to retroactivity, and we would like to be a part of that conversation." The statement went on to say the church has long supported the elimination of the criminal statute of limitations for child sex abuse, something they claim the Child Victims Act doesn't do, while supporting an extension on civil statute of limitations. So I sat down with our local senator, Tom O'Mara, to talk about what the Senate is doing to help solve this issue.
We have eliminated the criminal statute of limitations for most every type of sexual abuse that would fall in this category of child sex abuse and pedophilia. So there's no statute of limitations criminally.
O'Mara says lawmakers have also extended the civil statute of limitations for minors from what normally would be 21 to 28 years old. He claims in the Senate the 1-year open window is also creating some contention.
No, it could be 40 years, it could be 50 years old, these allegations, 30 years old. We know memories fade. They're not always clear. And to hold a deep pocket, it would just really be a target for trial lawyers to pursue these cases just for, ringing the bell, so to speak, with a big verdict.
Both lawmakers expect child abuse legislation to be a big issue in the upcoming session in an attempt to bring justice to victims.
It's been a really big push on this, frankly, for the 8 years that I have served in the Senate. I'm looking forward to the day we can come to a resolution on this and provide some meaningful relief for these victims because there are many.
They will show them that. We have to be able to work together. They want us to work together to find an answer to this problem. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be happening quite yet, but hopefully we can get there.
We will continue to follow this story as lawmakers push to finalize legislation in the 2019 session. If you or a loved one have been sexually abused, I've attached information on how to file a complaint in this story on our website at WENY.com. Reporting in the studio, Brandon Menard, WENY News.